All right, Lisa, we are live. Thank you so much for taking out some time.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely. I am a huge fan of the NeverEnding Story, and I want to get some insight into your documentary, Life After the NeverEnding Story. Let me start with, what was your fondest memory growing up with the film?
So, interviewing people across all these life after documentaries, interviewing people, most people with an 80s childhood remember the first time they saw a film. Like I saw it in the cinema. I remember I don't have specific memories of the first time I saw it, but I remember it was just there in my life. But what I specifically remember about the NeverEnding Story is that my mum had bought them on VHS, a slew of 80s films, but she felt that Falcor was too scary for a young child. So I wasn't allowed to watch it straight away, but she allowed me to watch The Dark Crystal
Oh,
and Watership Down. And
look at
I
my
don't
shirt.
think, oh, I love it. I don't think she understood what was in those other films. So that was really my first memory of the film, was not being allowed to watch it because she thought Falcor was too scary. But when I started watching it, I think for me, it's like a lot of 80s films. It's the magic of this period in film history where puppets were real and sets were real and the music was a character in itself. And it was just this magical world that, we had protagonists our age. We're watching kids go on adventures. So we wanted to be them and go on adventures with them. And I desperately wanted to be the childlike empress. Even in high school, I did textiles design for my final year when I was like 16. And I was thought, oh, I'll design a dress based around the headpiece for the childlike empress at
Oh,
16.
wow.
So it was just a film that was always with me and really special. And, I think when you have to break down why a film is special, it's really just that connection to your childhood and the nostalgia with it,
Sure,
so I think
sure.
that's the main thing. It's like it takes me back to when I was 6 and 7 and imagining being in Fantasia.
Sure. I mean, I'm an 80s kid too. I remember the first time I saw the film, so it definitely left a scarring feeling to me. So, but it's one of my favorites.
It's iconic for sure.
So what can fans expect from your documentary, The Life After Neverending Story? If you give us a
So
rundown.
so the Life After documentary. So this is the third one I've done. The first one was on Flash Gordon. The second one was on Flight of the Navigator. So I'm trying to keep a similar structure. Sorry, this is Meg. I'm trying to keep a similar structure where it's a behind the scenes look at the film and the making of, and makings of aren't always perfect or happy. So we tell the honest story of people's experiences of what happened on set, but also more of a personal biographical narrative. So for this one, we go back to Bavaria Studios with Tami Stronach, who was the childlike empress with the headdress. And, we're with her for the first time in 40 years when she's gone back to relive her experiences. And we talk to people there, and just hanging out with her was amazing. And hanging out with Noah in Las Vegas where he was living at the time, and it's getting a deeper insight into the people that made the documentary, and also the legacy and why it is so special, and why it still holds up after 40 years.
Absolutely. What made you want to get into documentary work? What what was it about it that drew you in?
A very concise story is, when I was growing up, I didn't realize that people made films, but I knew I wanted to be in film at a very early age. So I just thought the only way to be involved in a film was to be in it. So I grew up and I was like, I'm going to be an actor. And I would like practice my Oscar speech, and I had my Oscar dress designed, and, I would fake interviews and all of that. Um, and then my mum said, if you want to be an actor, you have to have a backup career. And I said, well, that's fine. I'll just do like directing, because by the time I had to think about university, I knew that people made movies. So then at university, I realized that acting was not for me. I was a terrible actor and I hated it and I don't like the attention. And so I for my third year, I did a documentary in India on a Tibetan children's village that's there, which is run by the Dalai Lama's sister, and it's about keeping the culture alive until they can go back to Tibet. And I had a really great time doing that, and I just fell in love with documentaries. And then after that, I worked for documentary companies, and in 2015 or 2014, I had been working for other people, and I didn't like that. I wanted to do my own ideas and make my own kind of dreams happen. Do what you dream. And so then, so then just the opportunity to do Life After Flash happened. And then we just decided to make it a series, and it's been a few years, but we're still here. But I just love documentaries. I love the idea of kind of telling people's stories and meeting other people, and telling stories that people might not know, just for Life After the Navigator. Just quickly on that one, you have this child star that you saw robbed a bank on the news, but you don't know why. And it's the
Sure.
why that I love to tell. So that's why I love
sure. Yeah, of course. That stuff is great. How long did this documentary take to complete? I'm sure that's a tough one.
Emotionally, a long time. Physically, I had wanted to do this since probably about 2017, and it took a couple of years back and forward to get the chance to meet Noah in person. He kind of replies to emails and then disappears for a period of time. So then we finally met in November 2019, and the first interview we did was January 2020 with Lamal. Then we went to a Comic-Con in March, and then we were due to go and film with Wolfgang Peterson in April, but we had to cancel the flight because the borders shut down. And so in that 2 years, I was kind of editing, and occasionally when something was lifted here, we could go to Italy or Germany or do some UK shoots, and then then we'd be locked down again. And so it was really patchy, but January 2020 was the first shoot.
Wow.
So it's been a long journey, but they're always a long journey. With independent film, it's if you had the full budget straight away, you could do it in a much shorter period of time, but it's trying to fund it, then balance it. I would take contract jobs to help fund it, and, just to live, and then you're still trying to fit life in around it. So there's a lot of things to juggle.
That's awesome. What would you say was your most challenging interview to get?
To get or to do?
To do, yeah, to complete.
I would say the most challenging one for me was probably Noah in Vegas, because it took so long to get hold of him to start with. And he was also probably the only person that, you don't get along with everybody. We didn't really gel. We had different energy levels, two totally different people. So that for me was just kind of an emotional struggle. It didn't come naturally to converse with him, and it was emotionally tricky, that one, I would say.
Sure, I understand. And if I'm not mistaken, your documentary has already won an award at Smodcastle Film Festival, right?
It won a second one after that. It
Oh
did.
my
So yeah,
gosh.
it got a second one too. In February, we went to Boston Sci-Fi Film Festival. So we have two,
Oh
which
my
I'm so
gosh.
excited about.
Well,
Yeah.
I am a big Kevin Smith fan, huge Kevin Smith fan. I guess tell us about that experience of winning your first award for that film.
Well, I didn't think I was going to win. So we had gone to, and this was the first film festival we did, because Tami had done a screening of NeverEnding Story there, and she was like, "Oh, I've met Kevin Smith, and they're really lovely, and you should do." And we were big Kevin Smith fans as well, so we were like, "Oh, that makes total sense. Even just to meet him, it's worth applying."
Right.
So we went, and it was fun. You go to the quick stop, and we did the little tour and everything.
Sure.
And so he kind of popped out for the first evening, and then the awards. But there were some really great documentaries in the festival, and I was like, "Oh." So on the last day, I was like, "Oh, I'm just really tired and jet lagged. I'll just, dress for comfort and not really put in much effort." And I wasn't prepared in the slightest. And the guy, Bob, I forget his surname, who picked Clerks for Sundance, was the one that picked the best documentary award winner. And so he started to read Life After, and I was like, "Oh my God, now I have to go and speak in front of everyone. And when I get nervous, I just kind of blur. So my speech was just terrible. And then Kevin was there and gave me the award, and he asked me a few questions, and I just was like, blur. So I wasn't, I wasn't on my best form. But it was just really like an honor to win. It was really fun, and it kind of like set the journey for actually maybe feeling like this documentary could be okay because you're so close to it. I edit these as well, so I'm just so close to them that you get to the end and you're so tired and you're like running on fumes. You don't even know what's good or bad anymore. So that was nice. And, we got the photo with Kevin, and it was a really fun festival.
That's awesome. I love that. And like we discussed, or like you mentioned, rather, you have other films in the Life After Movie series, Flight of the Navigator and Flash Gordon.
Yes.
Compared to those, how was it bringing NeverEnding Story to life for fans?
It was probably the trickiest,
Oh, okay.
I think. Flash was tricky in the sense that I was kind of finding my feet, learning how to edit something that was feature length. I had edited before and hadn't done a full length thing before, 90 minutes. Navigator just kind of came really quickly because we didn't have as many interviews. Randall Kleiser, who directed Flight of the Navigator, was so helpful in just organizing the reunion and emailed everyone and brought everyone there. And Joey was so lovely, and we just became really good friends. And NeverEnding Story has just been a long journey just for emotional issues with it, the pandemic. I feel like people have been so supportive of the film, and people who follow Life After Movies, pre-ordered. Some people pre-ordered it in 2021.
Wow.
So it's just this feeling of like really wanting to get it out, and people waiting so long. I just really hope I feel the most pressure with this one. I think I really want to have done a good job for NeverEnding Story fans. So it's been the hardest to make, and I definitely feel like there's a bigger pressure on me, especially it's the third one. If I make mistakes in Flash, people will be like, it's the first. But by the third one, people will be like, you got to get your S together.
Well, listen, like I mentioned, I've seen the documentary. I'm a big fan of the film, and I thought it was fantastic. So I think you really knocked it out of the park. So
thank you. That means a lot.
Definitely. So you kind of went right into my next question. When can fans expect the release of the documentary?
So the Blu-ray will be out this month.
Oh, wow, beautiful.
I know, I'm literally just on the last bonus feature now. I re-recorded it so that it was all done. And then I'm doing subtitles we've got English and German subtitles on it, but they're working on the Blu-ray. And so I'll start to ship this month, and you can buy it from my website, which is lifeaftermovies.com. And then it'll be on streaming on Amazon around summer. They can't give an exact date. So as soon as that's out, I'll be posting it on socials and let people know. And also, if you sign up to the mailing list on my website, I do mail outs with exact release dates. But definitely the Blu-ray with a collector patch and little booklet and everything will be out this month, I'm so excited and just relieved.
Oh my gosh, that is super cool. And tell us about the upcoming NeverEnding Fantasy Con that you'll be attending. I wish I can go in June.
Oh, I wish you were here too. So it's a kind of a long weekend event. So May 31st at the Prince Charles Cinema in London, we're doing a screening of the documentary. Tami will be there. Lamar will be there. We have Jason James Richter coming over to be there. Who was obviously in Free Willy, but also NeverEnding Story 3.
Right, of course.
And then on the Saturday, we have at the Chelsea Old Town Hall kind of a Comic-Con experience, but it's more interactive. It's like workshops and panels and signings and photos, but a bit more involved than a Comic-Con. And then on the Sunday, Tami's new film Man and Witch is having its world premiere again at the Prince Charles Cinema. And the tickets for that include like a medieval dinner and an after party. And so at NeverEnding Fantasy Con, you can pick up tickets if anyone's in London. So it's going to be really fun.
That is so cool. I'm so jealous.
We just get a flight over.
Well, it's funny. I'm coming over in July.
Oh,
so I miss it by I think I get in July 16th. So I think I miss it by like almost a month. So
Are you going to London?
yes, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Will let me know and we'll grab a drink.
Oh my God, that'll be amazing.
I'll do
Absolutely.
a tour.
So I know you currently are running a Kickstarter for your next film already. Can you tell us about that and what we can expect?
Yes, so Life After Goodfellas is the fourth in the series, a slight deviation of 80s, but it's filmed in 89, so it doesn't matter. But we're already 12 interviews deep. We were filming as we were overseas for the other ones. So I normally wouldn't launch a crowdfund before the Blu-rays of the previous one was out, but there's just some filming opportunities that I want to do this month that I really need the Kickstarter to happen for. So we're, I think, like 55% funded and we've got a couple of weeks left. So I have my fingers crossed and I really hope that works. But the narrative of that will be Christopher Cerrone, who played Kid Henry. So we film with him for a little bit. We want to get back out to Denver and film with him. And if the Kickstarter is successful, we'll be going to New Jersey to film with him in April as well. And yeah, we've interviewed some really exciting people so far, like Nick Pileggi, who obviously wrote the screenplay and Wise Guy book, and young Tommy Joseph and Mike Starr, who I was really excited to meet because I was like, oh my God, you're in Dumb and Dumber. Like that was I was more excited for Dumb and Dumber than Goodfellas with him. And Kevin Corrigan, who was just like super interesting, and a few others. So I'm really excited to get back into that.
So, I guess my last question for you is, why did you pick Goodfellas next, besides it being the greatest mobster movie of all time? That's my personal opinion, but
I agree. So, the producer for all the documentaries is also my other half, my husband,
oh,
and
sweet.
he's 10 years older than me. So he was like, please do a film that I really love.
I
And
love it.
I always like to think that everything happens for a reason. And we just had that conversation. And then a guy called Adam Gradwell, he's a Comic-Con agent and he helped me with a few things. He messaged out of the blue and he was like, do you want to do Life After Goodfellas? I connected with Christopher. And I was like, yes, we do. Because we were just talking about it. And so that's how it happened.
Wow. Oh, that's super cool.
It's really exciting. It's going to be really fun.
All right. Well, we have Life After NeverEnding Story coming out this month and this summer, and then we're currently crowdfunding for Goodfellas. So there's a lot going on. I wish you the best of luck. I really hope everything works out, and I'll be tuning in, no question about it. So
Thank you. And also, in addition to Goodfellas, we've started Life After Grease, which is foray into the 70s, but I really love Grease.
who
And then we're
doesn't?
also hopefully going to announce like a super 80s, another 80s one soon. So it's worth like signing up for things and following and seeing what happens.
Wow, you guys got your hands full, no question about it.
Yeah, there's a lot going on.
But it's all good things. So it
We love
sounds
it.
like it's all good things.
We love it. I think once Neverending Story, when I start shipping the Blu-rays, it'll feel like more real.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing. Well, listen, Lisa, I want to say thank you again for taking out some time. It's been a real pleasure. And
Thank
hopefully we
you.
can chat again soon when the next one
We
drops.
will. Well, we'll have to chat to you about Goodfellas, it sounds.
I love it. All right. Well, thanks so much.
Thank you so much.